Well, if it isn't Ned Peters' private eye. How goes the investigation, Ned?
Well, for one thing, the rest of the passengers seem to be a lot more talkative about Weltner and friends than a certain journalist I know. Why don't you take your eye off the Pulitzer Prize for a second and realize that if this plane lands and the killer isn't exposed, there is no story.
What makes you think the killer won't be exposed? Feeling a little inadequate, Peters? Besides, I've got a few cards left I haven't dealt.
Be my guest, sister. If you want the spotlight all to yourself, fine. Just remember, a murderer may walk off this plane scot-free because you had to do it your way.
Look, I wish I could help you, but I don't know how much you know or don't know about these bozos. And frankly, we're wasting time arguing about it.
Thanks. Thanks for nothing.
Senorita Simmons, you have been obsessed with this unfortunate Weltner business all evening. Why don't you relax and enjoy the flight and forget about this murder for a while?
Mr. Cabron, you don't mind if I ask you where you were the night Gerald Weltner was murdered?
Well, perhaps you and Senor Peters should compare notes. It seems you both have interests in common. However, I have nothing to hide. I was at the Club Marti with Senorita Petrovka. You may ask her if you like.
If that checks out, then Cabron and Petrovka have pretty good alibis. I wonder if the others can account for their whereabouts.
What is the matter, Senorita? Tears do not become you.
Oh, Hernando, it's that awful thing that happened to Jerry Weltner.
Oh, do not cry, mi gatita. From what I have heard, he was not a very nice hombre. It is said he was involved in bribery, corruption, and all sorts of despicable behavior.
Oh, Ned, the more I think about Jerry Weltner, the sadder I get. He was a funny little man, but now that he's gone, I guess I really liked him. And he was really nice to me in his own way, with flowers and gifts and all. Why, I've got one of those gifts right here. These pearls, he gave them to me. I tried to give them back, but he seemed so happy I just had to keep them. And now he's gone, and these are all I have.
Ah, Mrs. Shepherd, may I see your pearls? Hey, yes, it is they, the Hokata sisters.
The what?
The Hokata sisters, a match set of pink pearls from the trove of Hokata, a fabulous collection of 9th century Japanese warlord. They are extremely valuable. I sold them only 6 weeks ago to Weltner's son.
You were doing business with Weltner.
Ah, yes, many times. Jewelry, art, many things, and he always paid cash. Why, the same day of his most unfortunate death, he paid me for some ancient lacquer pieces and inquired about a collection of jades I expected to acquire shortly. Most things were shipped directly to an address in Geneva, Switzerland. But the Hokata sisters he kept, obviously to give to Miss Shepherd. He was a very good client of mine.
Well, Scratch Kudasai is a suspect. With Weltner converting his cash to Oriental art, it would be like killing the goose that laid the golden egg. Geneva. He must have been getting ready to blow town and was making sure he kept his assets liquid.
Herr Schnorrer, I must say, I am impressed with the speed with which your Führer has consolidated his power and finally raised the German people up from their knees. I dare say the Schnorrer munitions factories are responsible for much of the new respect for the Third Reich in Europe.
Dankeschön, Fräulein. A strong army makes for an efficient government. Europe has been put on notice. Germany shall lead the world into a new age. Our destiny will not be denied, either by anachronistic monarchies or by the communist fraud.
Nothing would please me more than to see the Stalinist pig crushed beneath the treads of German tanks. But it would take a huge army to put an end to those Bolshevik fanatics.
Perhaps, but the recent, shall we say, acquisition of technological advances allows us much greater range and accuracy in targeting artillery, and thus increasing our strength in the event of war. Hypothetically speaking, of course.
Of course, darling. Of course.
Oh, my. Mr. Peters, this is an amazing airplane, isn't it? Who would imagine? It even has a hothouse full of the most beautiful flowers. You know, it reminds me of the gardens of Dunland. We have a staff of gardeners that do nothing but care for dahlias, begonias, and wisteria. I think wisteria is my favorite flower. Don't you agree?
Well, the tobacco industry must be very profitable to allow you to hire a full-time gardening staff for your flowers.
It is much better than it was, I assure you. For years, foreign cigarettes were flooding the American market, but the government put a stop to that. So now we are doing quite well, thank you.
Prince Farouk, I know you travel in exclusive circles and have made the acquaintance of many influential people. I beg of you to help me convince those of consequence to press the British government to grant sovereignty to the people of India. Until Parliament can see the legitimacy of our claim, I am afraid bloodshed will overcome diplomacy, and many will die. Can you help us?
I sympathize with your cause, Mr. Mehta. The British were unwelcome guests in Egypt as well, until recently. Unfortunately, since my cousin the king is but 17 years old, it is unlikely that I will ever have influence over affairs of state. However, Lady Waddington, the wife of a member of Parliament, Sir Reginald Waddington, would be a most useful ally. If you could gain her ear, you gain the ear of her husband.
Alas, I have tried to persuade Lady Waddington of the justness of our cause since she arrived in America, but she won't listen. I have been following her, waiting for an opportunity to sway her opinion, but for weeks now she has constantly been with that Spaniard, Mr. Copron. Why, several weeks ago, I had followed them to an inn near Arlington, the Hotel Mantequilla. I believe Mr. Copron lives there. I remembered it most vividly as they stood outside, a garish neon sign flashing in their faces. She said, "You may be the mongoose to the others, but to me you are Valentino. That Cabron fellow has an evil eye, and I am afraid to approach her when she is with him."
Most regrettable circumstances, I agree, Mr. Mehta. I will consider what you have told me. If there is a way I can help, I will let you know.
Oh, thank you, Sahib. 1,000 thanks.
Bingo! This could only mean that Cabron was the gunrunner Petrovka spoke of. So, here you are, Jagdish. I noticed you weren't in any of the lounges, and I thought there might be something wrong.
Oh, Mr. Peters, please leave. This is so shameful. I wish to be alone.
What is it? Maybe I can help.
Well, to be honest, this is the first time I've ever flown in an aeroplane. My stomach doesn't seem to... that is, I'm not feeling very... please leave before I disgrace myself.
Just lay down for a second, Jagdish. We'll be landing shortly, and I was hoping you could help me out with a few details on the murder of Gerald Weltner.
Oh, my goodness, my head is spinning. I can't think. My brain is not working. Please, I can't help you. I think I should be ill now.
Here you are. I didn't want to arouse Maida's suspicions, so I tried to get a look at everyone's belongings while he was looking the other way, but I discovered nothing
Why, Prince Farouk, you are just the one I've been looking for. I have read so much about your country. What with that King Tut mummy they dug up and all. Is it true? I mean, everything I've heard about some sort of curse.
Well, Miss Dunn, there are those who think that Professor Carter has released an ancient curse by opening the tomb of King Tutankhamun. And there have been a number of strange deaths and other occurrences since the pharaoh's treasure trove was discovered. But I think most modern Egyptians doubt the existence of any ancient evil.
Well, I, for one, am not so sure. Why, there is a Civil War cemetery not far from our plantation that is positively haunted. Why, the weeping and wailing of those poor souls is enough to make my blood run cold. As far as I'm concerned, that's all we need. A bunch of 5,000-year-old cursed mummies haunting every museum in the world. I think they should have left well enough alone, if you ask me.
Have no fear, Miss Dunn. If there is one thing you can be sure of, it is that the remains of the ancient pharaohs shall never leave Egypt. The days of the British plunderers and grey robbers is over, I can assure you. My government is doing everything it can to reclaim the ancient effects of my ancestors and restore them to their rightful home in the Museum of Cairo.
Well, that certainly is a weight off my mind, Prince. Ever since I heard about that mummy's curse, I've been having the most frightful dreams filled with awful creatures in those raggedy bandages.